What is happening at Toyota? I've got several stories for you today. Engines, transmissions, differentials dying. This is all within like the last week. I want to show you these stories because I don't think it's normal, and I'm going to answer some questions. I see people saying this all the time. This is normal with mass manufacturing. I don't think it's normal, and it's certainly not normal for Toyota, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you some examples. So let's dive into the first story. So as usual, we have here a 2023 died last night. His question is that his truck's not under the recall, so he's wondering if he can get anything but a short block rebuild. I'll show you some comments below this. And actually, I saw something about short blocks being on back order, which is kind of indicated in a lot of these comments. Mr. Patterson here says, good luck, mine's been in the shop 2 months. And the craziest one down below this, see, this is what happens even out of warranty with, it depends on what kind of extended warranty you have. Going through this now, 65,000 miles, not in the recall, not covered by Toyota after 60,000 miles. So their extended warranty is a third-party warranty that they got from Toyota. He said they might have to pay $5,000 out of pocket. That's not good. Here's another one, 2024, loaded on the flatbed there, as you can see. He had 26,000 miles doing some light towing, traveling 72 miles per hour. They did update him. Toyota says some of the parts for the short block are on a national back order. I wonder why. So they did determine that he needs a short block rebuild. He's not included in the recall. Come on, Toyota. Add at least the 2024s should be included in this recall, and maybe the hybrids too. Maybe. There's a comment down below. Abolish the EPA and make Tundras great again. I actually don't think it's the EPA's problem here because, hey, if Ford and General Motors can make semi-reliable turbo engines, which they are right now, Toyota should be able to do the same thing under the same rules. Oh, and throw Ram in there as well. I mean, Ram's Hurricane seems to be reliable so far. At least they're not having as many failures. And all three of the big three, which normally I wouldn't recommend to anyone, they're not having nearly as many engine problems as Toyota's having when you look at the numbers sold. So go figure. And here's yet another familiar scene of the oil pan on this Tundra. Shredded main bearings in there and just total carnage. And you may remember this guy. He had a 2025 TRD Pro, 365 miles. He ended up doing a lemon law on this one. And I'm starting to find this is getting a little weird with the 2025s because what I thought would be gone with Toyota. I thought, 22, 23, you'd see these like hybrid motor problems like this. I've seen two now. This guy says, well, crap, 2025 TRD Pro with only 2,096 miles on it. He ends up having a hybrid motor issue. There's another gentleman that had this same issue. I think I had Luke in my last video. He says anybody went through this hybrid system malfunction 5,000 kilometers. Again, owned 6 weeks, has this hybrid. So it's like, even though these are 2025s, they're still having a lot of the same problems that I saw in the 22s, 23s, and 24s. And here's another example that the 25s don't seem to be, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the quality control is improving like you would expect. This guy has a 2025. Anyone had the transmission replaced in a third-gen Tundra? Mine failed 165 miles. Now, I will say the transmissions, when they do have problems, they seem to be early on. It doesn't seem like people are having transmission problems later in the life of the Tundras. But I've seen multiple people on there. The responses are always like, oh, it's normal. It's normal to have these problems. Well, maybe if it's a General Motors, but I don't think it's normal for Toyota. And he says down below he needed a new transmission and torque converter. Should get it back in 2 weeks. Now here's another one. This is a non-hybrid 2025 1794 edition. It's got 11,000 miles on it. Transmission's dead. He needs to get a tow. They asked him what the symptoms were. He said none, just driving down the road. All of a sudden had no power to the ground. Now, admittedly, the transmission, differential problems, things like that, I think they're a lot less common in the Tundra. What you mostly see is the engine trouble. Here's a guy, 12,000 miles, and the front diff exploded. He's got a ton of metal on there on the magnet. Not super common, but still kind of rare for Toyota to see differential problems. That's just, it's not something they had issues with, especially early on. And I know a lot of folks have said, well, this is why you get an extended warranty. This is what warranties are for. So here's this gentleman's story. Long story short, his engine blew up at 77,000 miles. Toyota did not cover anything since it was out of warranty. However, he had a third-party extended warranty, which they were the ones that covered that expense. But he was told by the attendant, that probably the service manager, that he would get a new engine. What would you do if you found out that Toyota replaced your engine with a junkyard engine instead of a brand new one like they said they were going to do? So here you go. This guy's just outside of warranty, 77,000 miles with this is a known problem with these trucks. Everybody knows this is happening. They say spun main bearings. Engine's main bearings had spun and locked up the engine, and replaced the engine assembly with a used junkyard engine. So please, guys, I see this in the comments all the time. They're buying these extended warranties and everybody feels like they're in the clear, man. They got a 150,000 mile warranty. Be aware. Read all the fine print. This is what you might end up getting, because if Toyota says, hey, this is a third-party warranty, and in the third-party warranty, it doesn't cover a brand new engine, this is what you're probably going to get. And here's another one. I think it was a 25, but it's actually not Toyota's fault on this one. This is a technician's fault. I keep seeing this posted in Facebook groups in Ford, GM, Toyota, and I think it's due to the technicians being kind of cycled out, the good ones, and we're seeing a lot of younger people that maybe don't know what they're doing or have their phone in their hands a lot. They're not doing their job, not doing it properly. This poor guy, they actually forgot to install a new oil filter after an oil change, so his engine's toast. So here's what Alvis said. This is actually Lakeland Toyota's service department's fault. They had them do an oil change on their way home. Warning message came on. They looked, they had no oil pressure. Tow driver came to pick him up, looked under the truck and took a picture. The oil filter was gone and there was oil everywhere. So someone just forgot to install the oil filter. Obviously didn't test it, didn't run it for a minute. I get made fun of all the time. Why do you do your own maintenance? You can pay people for that. This is why I do my own maintenance, because I know I've never not installed an oil filter, at least not yet. I found another poor sap here. He will probably regret this, but here he goes. He's trading in his 2021 SR5 for a 2025 Limited. Look, I'm sure the 2025 Limited will be super smooth, nice, feel great, but I would, at least me, just from a reliability perspective, I would probably never trade in a 21 with the 5.7 for one of these newer ones, unless you're just gonna cycle them every 2 years in warranty. Gosh, I can't recommend the new Tundra yet. They need to get past this issue. And Ryan Reyes gets the award for the funniest comment that I've ever seen in these Facebook groups. This is in response to one of these engine failures. The guy says, I feel your pain. This happened to my 97 with 390,000 miles on it. It's just, what a funny comment. I kind of feel bad for the person on the receiving end of this, but anyway. And look, I say this in a lot of my videos. I actually do hope that Toyota gets this figured out. Getty's Garage, if you guys didn't see this video, the reason why I like the design of this engine on paper is because of the design for the low-end torque. Alex does a great job at Getty's Garage and showing you on a tow loop, and this thing's towing this 8,000-pound load at like 3,000 or 2,800 RPMs. It tows really well. So if they could make this engine reliable, it's kind of like a traditional Toyota engine. Really good low-end torque. It's not going to win any races, but it's really designed to work, and I hope for Toyota's sake and everybody else that owns these trucks, they get past this, because this has just been a disaster. And as promised, I want to talk to the people that always say, hey, this is normal. This is just 1%. It's a small number of failures. This is not normal for Toyota. If you look at the sales numbers for the Tundra versus the F-150, the Chevy Silverado, the Sierra, the Ram Hurricane, Toyota sells fewer vehicles than all of those brands do, and they have more failures right now. So answer that question. Why do we see more failures in the Tundra's engine than we do the big three? Now that's flipped. We used to see the other way. It used to be the big three would have more failures in their transmissions, engines, all these things, and that was just sort of the way it went. But they sell a lot more vehicles than Toyota does. So given the number of sales, if you look at the ratios of complaints to sales and actual dead engines to sales numbers, year over year since 2022, you're going to find, go look at the data, you're going to find that Toyota actually has a higher number of failures. Now, that's not like Toyota. Look even at the Toyota Tacoma. Toyota Tacoma outsells the Tundra. It doesn't have anywhere near the number of failures that the Tundra is having. So that should tell you that what we should see is something like the Toyota Tacoma, where it's been out for a little over a year, 2 years now, 2 model years, and we're just not seeing a bunch of failures with those. We're not seeing it like what we see in the Tundra, and that 2.4 liter has been out a while. Now, this engine in the Tundra has been out in Lexus. They had these problems all the way back to like 2018 when this engine started in Lexus. So this is nothing new. And it doesn't matter if it's coming from the Japan plant or Texas. Really we're seeing fewer failures now, but we're still seeing them. So I just personally think this is why I haven't bought one. I want to warn people that, hey, if you're really wanting something reliable, you're traveling out of town a lot, you're out in the sticks, you might want to consider something else that has a little bit better track record, or maybe an older Tundra like a second gen. It is a consideration. It really depends on what you're doing. I realize it's not all of them. Everybody knows that, but it's not normal for Toyota. Thanks for watching. Till next time.